What's going on, guys? So we are still here at the 2022 Toyota Tundra event in San Antonio, Texas. Well, actually Lake Canyon, a little north of San Antonio, Texas. Had an opportunity to do quite a few things out here, a lot of video content on it, so I hope you're enjoying it. But we are going to take a quick look at this Tundra Limited. This is a crew cab, not the Crew Max, and we're going to talk a little bit about the things that I like about it and the things that I think they may have been able to do a little different now that I've had time to spend inside of the driver's seat of one of these trucks. So hang tight, I'll be right back. They're repositioning the truck over there, release the chassis so they can shoot some drone footage. But yeah, here it is. Again, this is the double cab, which, you know, I haven't actually had a chance to show you guys inside of. Seats are back a bit, but not a tremendous amount of legroom, honestly. You can see how close that is. Very, very, very tight fit. Look at power windows and door locks, which is nice. Below are some of their new aluminum running boards. So, what I like about this truck first, I like the overall look. I think they did a good job. Overall, the truck looks muscular. It looks new, it looks different, even though it's not like what I would consider to be a complete departure. But really, guys, I mean, what truck manufacturer builds a complete departure versus, you know, subtle changes that kind of act as an evolution of the previous generation? Besides Chevy doing it with their heavy duty truck, everyone else pretty much tries to keep that lineage in terms of the overall look. And then beyond that, you know, they did the right things in the right areas. Now, the front grille, I like it, while at the same time there are things that I think they could have done a little different. First of all, I really would have suggested they put tow hooks, and I actually mentioned this to them quite a bit here today and throughout some of the other times I've been with the truck. Even if, you know, if fuel economy is the main issue they're dealing with, put little removable caps on the front that cover up the tow hooks when you're not using them. You know, easy as that. Tow hooks definitely needed. I believe tow mirrors should be standard. And if you don't want a tow mirror, you can opt for a slight savings. You know, that's kind of one of those delete options, perhaps, where you have tow mirrors and you can delete them. And I don't even think we need true to life tow mirrors. I think what's needed really is a mirror with that convex mirror below it, simply so you have the capability of seeing that wide swath beside your truck whenever you're driving. I think that those should be standard. Have the larger portion up top and then have that convex portion below. A lot of people don't even use their tow mirrors, or they don't tow something, but everyone can use a really, really good spot mirror, in my opinion. I like the bed. You know, the bed is really nice. The only thing that I would think they should do different, they should have made the inner part kind of go in a little bit here. Being as flat right here as they are, it looks a little awkward to me. I know it's functional, but you know, that's just one of those areas that I think they could have probably done something a little different, especially considering this is likely a molded material. I do like the placement of the LED lights for the bed. Being center, pointing in the bed is really nice. Okay, on the driver's side, coming around, a feature I absolutely love, and I've mentioned this in all the videos, is that feature right there. I think that is brilliant. If you're carrying something heavy, if you got a Yeti cooler in your hand, if you're carrying stuff from the grocery store, lumber, it doesn't matter. Being able to just press that with your elbow, drop in the tailgate, is a really, really good thing. Honestly, not a big fan of the bumpers. I do wish they would have had a steel bumper in the back versus the aluminum panel continuing around to an aluminum bumper. A steel bumper, in my opinion, is just what people want. If you accidentally tap a tree or something, you just want to know that you haven't done a lot of damage to your vehicle. And I think a steel bumper gives people that peace of mind. So that would be something I recommend. Coming around this way, and again, this is a double cab, so a lot of these hold true to the crew cab as well, or the Crew Max. Wheels design looks really good. You know, everything else looks pretty good, to be honest with you. I think they've done a good job. Now, when I drove the 2021 Tundra, I noticed that the windshield felt bigger. It felt like the glass went up a little higher and you had a little bit more overall visibility versus this. So that was one thing I had noticed. One thing I do like about this truck is the power plant, the engine. I think that the 3.5 twin turbo is a really, really good option, especially considering the power they're getting out of it. And I believe Ford probably paved the way for a lot of people to truly trust a V6 twin turbo as the main power plant. A lot of people know Toyota Tundras are just built insanely reliable, and I can't imagine they would have released a new engine like this without putting it through its rounds. So it's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of years just how that engine holds up. But you know, I'm pretty positive in thinking it's going to be a good power plant, because Toyota typically puts a lot of research and development before they release anything, because you really don't want something like that to be the downfall of a vehicle simply because you didn't put enough miles on it or you didn't put it through its paces long enough. Looking inside, this truck does have the 13-inch display. I do really like that. I like the positioning of the buttons here. This is also really nice. This truck does have the air ride suspension, which is right there. So the back suspension does not use coils. It uses a multi-link air ride suspension for either automatic leveling, or you can use the manual button to manually raise or lower the back. A lot of camera views. You have this with the tow package as well. You have your tow modes down here. You actually have 3 tow modes in essence. You have the tow haul mode, then you have a tow and a tow plus mode. They make a dramatic difference in your ability to tow a trailer. And this thing really effortlessly towed any of the trailers once we had it in either tow or tow plus mode. So that is really nice. Center console, I kind of prefer a totally flat center console, only because it gives you kind of a workstation, a workplace if you have a laptop, if you need to write something down. It's just a nice area. They gave you a lot of storage compartments, which I can appreciate. I just, again, personally would have recommended a flat surface, or the ability to make it a flat surface if you wanted it that way. This specific truck does not have the panoramic sunroof, but if I were to get a sunroof, which you guys know I'm not a big fan of sunroofs, I would opt for this one if I could. Only because the panoramic sunroof, as you know, in one of my trucks was problematic. Actually, both of my trucks. One of them, it was creaking. The other one, I actually had to get the rail replaced. And I just prefer some simplicity here. I honestly wouldn't even want a panoramic sunroof, and I would have deleted it if I could have. They have the camera in the rear view mirror. That is pretty cool. I never used it because I really didn't feel like it helped me. I like the standard mirror. I like the ability to kind of move my head around and get different perspectives on things that I'm looking at behind me. But it's not a bad thing overall. I'm sure some people get a use out of it. All your controls are up here. This one has the analog display cluster up front instead of the whole digital LCD. But once you go to the higher end trims, whether it's the Platinum or the TRD Pro, you're going to get the 2 screens, the large screen here and the large screen here. I did have really good success with their Hey Toyota feature, where you can interact with your infotainment system. So that was really nice. I think if you look at one of these trucks, even if you're kind of on the fence around the outside looks, you have to hop inside one, because they've made so many changes to the truck. Well, they haven't even made so many changes. It's an all new truck, and you have to get inside of it to see if you like what they've done. Because in my opinion, even though there may not be quite as many, you know, accent features in this truck as you might see in, say, a new Ram, you can get this spec'd out in the 1794 package, and it, to me, looks just as luxurious as any Ram vehicle. And the interior of this truck, to me, looks just as luxurious as any Lone Star equipped truck or any Laramie equipped truck. So it's a very, very nicely designed interior, and I think for the most part, people are going to like it. Now, in terms of driving characteristics and impressions, I really liked how the truck drove and handled. To me, it definitely leaned more towards the firm side. I would say it's firmer than Ford and Ram, and pretty much on par with what you might get out of a Chevy. And that's kind of interesting, considering the fact that most of them come with coil rear sprung suspension and then a really thick stabilizer bar. So, as mentioned in multiple videos, they switched to this new fully boxed frame from their Triple Tech design, and they had to come up with a way to still give you good ride comfort, and the way they chose to go with was the multi-link suspension in the back, remove the leaf springs, put coil springs. And again, in my opinion, the truck drives really nice, really smooth, just not as smooth as you might feel in a Ram or even a Ford F-150, much closer to what you might feel in a Chevy. And from an interior noise level perspective, if you get the iForce Max, it's going to have a bit of that hybrid noise, kind of like a TIE Fighter when you go to slow down or when you take your foot off the gas, because that hybrid system, you can really hear it. So it's not as if it's completely muted out and quiet from the inside. And that's one area that I do wish they were able to dampen it down just a little bit. Overall, though, the truck is really nice. There are so many things to like about it. If you are in the market for a half-ton truck, because that is clearly where this truck falls, it's not a 3/4 ton truck. The payload numbers and all that clearly indicate this is a half-ton truck. 12,000 pound maximum towing capacity in certain configurations, but upwards of 2,000 pounds worth of maximum payload capacity in certain configurations. If you look at this truck, it's probably closer to 1,575 pounds. So again, that maximum payload number is going to be in certain configurations, and it's typically regular cab, long bed, work truck. Anyways, when you compare this to everything else that's out there, it compares very favorably, as long as you're not considering this to be a 3/4 ton truck. Most of your F-150s, most of your Ram 1500s, Chevys, GMCs, they all have around the same payload capacity and towing capacity as these trucks. What you should do, though, is you should look at all of them. Spend some time in them. See what you think in terms of ride comfort, ride characteristics, features that you like. If you're into tech, see if it has all the tech you're looking for. If you're going to be towing something, see, you know, if it has the equipment to tow whatever you're trying to do safely. All of that stuff. It's all really important, and it's pretty easy to figure out through basic research. But again, just because you might be on the fence about the look of a truck from the outside does not mean that it's not going to meet your satisfaction on the inside or from a chassis and drivetrain perspective. And those are two very important areas that you also have to take into account, even more important in some cases than the outside look of the truck. But those are all things that you do need to think about if you are a truck buyer, especially if you're a non-biased one and you're not going in looking only for a certain brand. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed these videos out here in the Lake Canyon area north of San Antonio. Really appreciate Toyota for bringing me out to do these videos, and I hope you've enjoyed them. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.